Did you know that podcasting is the new gold rush? Companies like Apple, Google, and Amazon certainly know that it is, and that's why they're wanting more podcast shows from interesting and beautiful souls just like you. Christine Blasdale is the author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Your Amazing Itty Bitty Podcast Book, and she wants to help you get your very own podcast out into the world. So to book a free podcast strategy session with Christine, visit ChristineBlasdale.com. Again, that's ChristineBlasdale.com and schedule a consultation. And trust me, you'll be happy that you did.
Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Are you willing to step into your greatness? Are you ready to shine? Well, get ready, Truth Seeker. You're in for an amazing ride. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blasdale.
Welcome back, my friends, to Out of the Box with Christine. I'm your host, Christine Blasdale. And okay, just stop what you're doing. Stop your scrolling. Just don't answer the door, put away your groceries, whatever. Just get ready for an incredible show. My guest today is Michael Serwa, who is one of the world's top personal coaches and is coming to us right now live from London, England. I want to welcome you to Out of the Box with Christine because this is going to be such a great show. I love you already, Michael. Welcome to Out of the Box.
I have a great feeling about it as well, Christine. Thank you for a very kind introduction as well. I'm looking forward to it, and thank you for having me.
Well, in our pre-conversation, our pre-recorded conversation, we just kind of like went all over the place. And I was saying how much I loved your website because it says so much about you. Now, for those who are listening and watching on YouTube who have not gone to your website yet, why don't you tell them a little bit about who you are and who you're not, even more importantly, who you're not, because I know you're one of the highest paid personal coaches in the UK, but there's a lot behind who you are and who you're not.
Right. So it was always very important for me. There's obviously a lot of coaches out there. And when I started coaching back in 2011, there were already plenty of coaches in London, especially, right? I mean, this is English-speaking country that we're in, and coaching is not as popular as in States, but I would say almost as popular as it is in States. So lots of coaches out there, and I certainly wasn't trying to be like those other coaches because I knew who I was more or less. I was only 28, so I didn't know exactly who I was yet, but I was getting the glimpses of who I was as a man, as a human being around that time. Especially given that up to that point, I've already spent around 5 years on personal development, right? So I was involved in personal development for 5 years before I became a coach. So to your question, it was very important for me from day one for whatever I put on that website in terms of copy, in terms of design as well, but predominantly it's about the copy, right? When you're looking for a coach and trying to determine whether this coach could be right for you or not, you're going to be looking for what they say and pay more importance to what they say as opposed to the color of the design of the website, right? But sure enough, being who I am, I'm not going to end up with a fucking pink website because I'm not a pink kind of guy, right? I leave it for other people. I'm a black and white kind of guy. I'm Polish, right? We only see black, white, and gray growing up, right, in Poland. Just kidding, but it's not a fucking Spain when you see all the colors, everywhere you go. It's a pretty great part of the world, right? So unsurprisingly, after living in London for 5 years, I'm still kind of like black and white and gray. Those are my favorite colors. So there wasn't a brainstorming session with a marketing specialist as to what colors I'm gonna use. There was no branding specialist helping me with anything. I had no fucking money to pay somebody to build a website. I had to build it myself. I had to learn how to do it, not being a techie person. I had to learn how to do it myself, and I was clear on colors. And in terms of copy, which is the most important thing, obviously, as I said, it was always important for me for this copy to reflect who I am as a person. Because as a coach, if we look at my coaching style, I'm just basically being myself and I'm getting paid for it, right? I've always been a bit of a smart ass. I've always been cocky as fuck from a young age. People who've met me recently sometimes would assume that, oh, he's so cocky because he's made a little bit of money. What they don't know is that I was just as cocky when I was broke. Right? So there's no link between the income and the cockiness. The cockiness was always there, right? It's fucking genetics. It's genetics, it's upbringing, whatever it is. So I was always sure of myself, but at the same time, I always loved people, right? All sorts of people. One of my favorite things about London is how diverse it is, how liberal it is, how you can be a fucking black Muslim lesbian with a fucking punk and nobody gives a fuck. Whereas if you look like that in Poland, for example, you literally might be in trouble. Like you literally might be like, beaten up by someone. And I hate that. And any places where you can't be yourself, you can't express yourself, who you are, your personality, your individuality, your sexuality, whatever the hell it is, right? Whereas London is one of the places in the world, I think it's a common knowledge that are definitely on a liberal side, right? So it really suits me, and I love living here. So what better place to then express myself fully as a coach and just be like, hey, listen, this is who I am. And I say it myself. Maybe you remember that section when I say, I'm not a coach for most people. I'm not. Don't remember exactly how I put it, but basically the gist of it is, I'm not a right coach for most people, which is okay because I'm not interested in working with most people, or something along those lines. Right? Is the first paragraph on the you section there, right? So I'm self-aware, like I know who I am, I know who I'm not. And sure enough, I want to work with people like myself, not exactly like myself. There's not two people who are identical, right? But I want to work with people who have similar values. I want to work with people who have a similar level of ambition, similar level of drive, similar sense of humor, right? If I say something that I find funny and somebody's looking at me, like I had a girlfriend like that. She was lovely, right? But even though she was my girlfriend, we lived together, she wouldn't get half of my jokes, and that was a problem.
Oh,
right?
Dump her. Yeah.
And I did eventually, right? It took me 13 months, right? Because I would say something, and I don't think my humor is so fucking sophisticated and difficult to detect. It's like, is he joking or not, right? So I would say something that in my head was obviously a joke, and she would look at me like, oh fucking no, that's just, there's an expiry date on this relationship right there, because it's like, or like I would tease somebody in front of her, and then she'd be like, oh my God, you were so rude to this person. I was like, baby, I was just fucking with them, and they know it too. You are the only one out of the three of us who doesn't fucking realize I was just kidding. Like I have nothing against that person. Anyway, so I am who I am, and as we were talking before we started recording, I lost voice just through that conversation. There you go. So you've exhausted me, Christine.
Well, I do that
before we even started. It was a cheating volume. Like no fucking mercy on your guests. I was like, my goodness. So as I was saying before we started recording this, I wanted to make sure that my website is as true representation of who I am as a man, first of all, man/human being, and then as a coach, right? Because when I meet people for the initial consultations, which is the first step towards working with me, I'm looking at the human being before I look at, who you are in terms of career, how much money you have, man or woman, which religion. I don't give a shit. Like, give me, like, I need to, like, I look for the, heart connection first, right? And if the heart connection is there, then all the other stuff I couldn't care less about, right? It's like, not that I couldn't care less about, but it's like secondary, right? Whereas when the heart connection is not there, then you could be the fucking king of the world. And I would say, listen, with all due respect, why don't you keep your money and your fucking castles and just fuck off? We're not right for each other, right? I'm not feeling it, right? But as I was saying to you before as well, because my website is the way it is, it's a great filtering the wrong people from the right people. There's a colossal difference between the amount of visitors I have monthly on my website, like I know exactly how many, thousands, whatever, and then the amount of people that actually sends me, the amount of people that send me an email inquiring about coaching, right? There's a huge difference between those two numbers, right? And that's great, right? Because the wrong crowd gets filtered out.
It saves you time and energy in your life force.
Because it's like, you see, it's especially if we consider that I never got into coaching for the money in the first place, right?
Right? This is why you're such a great coach. Talk about that, because people don't understand this sometimes.
No, but you see, in my experience, it's not just me. All the other most successful coaches that I know or know of didn't get into it for the money. They got into it for the love of it, and the money came as a byproduct, right? Because looking back, I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, I can tell that I found myself coaching people for 10 years before I became a coach. So between the age of 18, more or less, 18, 19 to the age of 28, when I became a coach formally, I found myself coaching people, telling people what to do. Is very fucking easy. Ask any of my girlfriends. She will tell you I'm a master of fucking telling people what to do, right? Right? And I'm shit at being told what to do. I'm completely unemployable. Like I'm completely unhireable, right? Because like, so what was that? Go fuck yourself, okay? I will do it when I feel like doing it, okay? So I had some bosses in the past in my early and mid 20s, and the ones who were really cool, I was like, okay, he's cool, she's cool, I can fuck with them. All the other ones, we would fight, right? We would fight because I just don't take authority very well unless I really respect the authority, right? That I'm dealing with. So basically there was a point when I was 28 when I went, fuck, I love people. Okay, first of all, like I love personal development. It's my biggest interest, passion, something I do in my spare time. So like I love that, psychology and personal development in particular. Then I love people. People generally find me likable and trustworthy and all of that my whole life. And I was like, fuck, I mean, this whole thing, this idea just came to me, and it was like a calling. It wasn't even like I was sitting there thinking, what could I do with my, it found me. Like the calling has fucking found me and has grabbed me by the fucking balls. And it's been over 10 years and it hasn't left me even for a minute. There hasn't been a minute over the last decade when I questioned whether this is something I should be doing. Or maybe there's something else I should be doing instead. Or maybe if I was to do something else, that'll make me more money. There's so many other things that I could do that would make me even more money. But like I said, well, first of all, I make enough money as it is. And second of all, like I said, I never got into it for the money. Right? I can't believe that I get to spend time with the people I spend time with and I get fucking paid for it.
This is the key. And this is the key. It doesn't matter if somebody is becoming a coach or a consultant, or if they're the best Volkswagen mechanic in the world. Doing something that you love Absolutely. Is not work. It's not not hard
I haven't worked
labor.
For a minute. I haven't worked for a minute in the last decade.
You've had fun.
I haven't worked for a minute.
And you've in the process of following your passion and living your passion, you've helped other people live their passion. And that's the key as well.
Absolutely, because unsurprisingly, that would be one of the most common things that people come to us coaches with, for us to help them with, right? Like, what is it that I should be doing? Because what I'm doing currently
isn't working.
It doesn't give me a fucking hard on, So what is I need to, don't choke on your coffee, yeah?
It's okay.
Like I'm doing it and it kind of pays the bills. So sometimes like I'm doing it, it makes me a lot of money, but I'm just not quite. So that's maybe, I don't have exact statistic, but maybe maybe up to 30% of all the coaching, all the cases that I've dealt with, quote unquote cases, have been around finding my passion, or I already know what I want to do. Can you now help me take it from here to here, from one level to another, whatever the levels are? So definitely career coaching and finding my purpose and that sort of thing is a very common thing that we help people with.
And I think it's a time right now. They talk about the great resignation, right? And I think that with COVID, there was so many things that people did not now realize they didn't have control over. If they worked at a company for 20 something years and were laid off, or their hours were reduced, or they completely, they were, like I said, sorry, bye, we can't exist anymore. People felt that they didn't have control. And now there is this massive influx of people creating their own professions, their own jobs, and especially women. I mean, I know, because you've been in the industry for so many years. I'd say in the last 5 years, the trajectory of women going, you know what? I'm damn good at what I do. I need to have my own business and be my own boss. Sure. But there are still so many people who are in those in positions in doing things in life, work-wise, that they're not living their passion because they feel like, well, I have a mortgage, I've got kids, I have responsibilities, I can't go off and have a good time. I need to stick at this safe job or this safe position. And sure. Can you speak to those people just at the moment? Because sure. I know I come across them all the time.
Sure. And exactly as you said it's they recognize that whatever it is that they're doing at the time is not what they should be doing, but they have the mortgage, they have the kids, they have responsibility. And I don't have the mortgage. I live in the rental by choice. I don't have kids as far as I'm aware of. Again by choice, but I can emphasize with people, especially men, maybe an Eastern European man, for us is like, I know it's very fucking old fashioned, but like in Poland and in particular, like you go to Russia, it's like, if the man doesn't provide enough for the whole, he's not the real man, which is obviously like they a little bit behind those guys, and Polish are not far out, right? So but that's how I was brought up, and that's my like basic conditioning, where I'm a man, and if I'm with a woman, in my case being a straight man, then if she works for pleasure, not for money. Like her income is not needed for, and I appreciate this is like an old model and all of that, right? But that wasn't the question I asked you. So let me just go back to the core question. So there's always a solution, right? Except that sometimes people think about something or doing something, and they immediately tell themselves that, oh well, yeah, there's something else I would like to do, but there's no way of doing it, because, and they, the moment you say there's no way out, there's no way out. Right? Because there's this quote in personal development, we say, whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you are right. Right? So if you say so, well, I would, but I can't, well, then you can't. However, if somebody says there must be a way, there's always a fucking way. And sure enough, when those people come to me for coaching, so to give a practical tip on this subject, I'll say, okay, so you have 9 to 5, whatever, 9 to 6 job that you don't like, or you don't love at the very least, right? Sometimes, it's, I will also add, like, not hating something is not a good enough fucking argument to keep it in your life. Like, right. Oh yeah, I will keep my boyfriend on the basis of me not hating him. It's like, is that your standard? That, is that what you're willing to accept in life? Like, just because you don't hate him or you don't hate your job, is that good enough of a reason to fucking keep it, right? How about, at the very least, there was, I think, I'm not into hip hop myself, but I think there was an album by 50 Cent, Get Rich or Kill Yourself Trying. or something like that, right? So I think there was a name of the album of one of the, I think it was 50 Cent, like ages ago, right? So I wouldn't say for me, like, I'm gonna get rich or kill myself trying, because becoming rich has never been like my main goal in life. But I would definitely say, so this is, again, I'm speaking from my values, speaking my truth. I'm not saying, hey guys, this is how it is, and how do you know it? Because I fucking said so. I don't have like a fucking God complex or anything like that, right? Believe it or not, right? So for me, I would flip that and I would say, I will do everything I possibly can to create a happy life for myself, whatever happy means to me, right? Or I will fucking kill myself trying, right? And I'm willing to do whatever. And this is exactly how I got to the place I got to in my life, right? Which is, without a question, a 10 out of 10 life for me, because I was willing to do whatever it took to build this life. And I never allowed myself to go, well, yes, I want that, but that will be hard or impossible. Everything is fucking within reason. Everything is possible. You just need to open yourself up to the possibility that everything is possible, right? Because as I said before, the moment you close that window, you fucked. You accept status quo and you fucked. And you're lucky to have 5 out of 10 life for the rest of your life. And it's sad. And obviously, like, especially if someone doesn't think about coaching or doesn't have that friend who can help them out or something, and they stuck, and I feel for those people. And sure enough, when someone like that comes to me, for example, I would say, okay, so what are the facts? Okay, the fact is that I have a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 job that pays the bills. I can't quit this job because I have the mortgage and the kids and all of that. I'm a man or I'm a woman, I'm a single man, whatever. I'm a responsible adult. Okay, I respect that. Now, there's always fucking solution. In my reality, in my world, there's always a fucking solution. So how about, the next question will be, okay, so you know that you don't love your job, or you don't like your job, or worst case scenario, you hate your job. Is there anything that you know you would love to do? And then they say yes or no. If it's a yes, it makes my job easier, because then we don't need to spend the time on,
you don't need to hunt it down,
thing,
right.
But so half of the time people know what they want to do, and then it's like, okay, let's build a strategy together as a team, as partners, as to how we're gonna replace your current job with this thing. And if you don't know what it is, don't worry, I'm gonna help you find it. And if it's there, I say to people, if it's there to be found, we're gonna find it, because I'm like a dog with a fucking bone. I'm not gonna fucking stop until we explore all the fucking possibilities, right? I lock the fucking doors. You're not going anywhere. The security guys don't say, just kidding. We're gonna stay the whole fucking night. We're gonna do the whole all-nighter until we find that thing, right? So okay. So one way or another, we come up with what that thing is, right? So, okay. So your job takes 40 hours of your week. Then you have 2 kids. How much time do you need, like, kids, especially if you're a woman, maybe single mother or something like that? Okay, right? Okay. How many hours you are left with, and sure enough, there's a whole bunch of fucking hours in a week, right? And the 40 hour that we spent on that job that we don't like, it's only a fraction of it. And this is something like I wish I came up with myself, but I didn't. So I'm going to have to quote one of my favorite people, Arnold Schwarzenegger. When somebody said to him, but Arnold, it's easy for you to say hustle and do this, do that, work on the side gig, after your 9 to 5, etc., right? Which is where I'm going with this. And so he said, well, but like, what if there isn't enough time in a day to do that, to have a day job and the work on the side hustle? And then Arnold Schwarzenegger said, well, then sleep faster. If there's not enough time, just like, so instead of like sleeping for 8 hours, I can sleep 6 hours, motherfucker, and there you go. 7 times 2 hours, that's 14 hours saved, right? Like if I had to, I love my 8 hours a night, 7 to 8 hours, right? It's my fucking sweet spot. But if I had to, if somebody said to me 10 years ago, Michael, the only way for you to become the #1 highest paid coach in the UK to begin with would be if you would have to sacrifice half of your sleep and sleep for 4 hours, I would fucking do it. if somebody said to me, and I'm 100% heterosexual, somebody said to me, Michael, the only way for you to achieve that goal is like you would have to like you and a guy and just get on with it. I'll be like, you know what, whatever it takes, whatever it takes. So like whatever it takes that doesn't involve hurting other people. And obviously I wouldn't hurt that guy because he'd probably be gay. He'd be like, I'll do it, fuck it, I'll do it, you know. So Elton John or somebody, right? So but this is like obviously like I'm you know, it sounds like I'm joking, but I'm actually
Elton
serious.
John, wait a second, really?
No, but like just listen.
I understand. I get the gist.
I want you to understand the magnitude. Yes. Yeah. So
yes.
I would even as a straight guy, I would do Elton John if that's what it took for me to reach the goals that I really care about. And
right.
I know it sounds like this guy's either crazy or he's just joking.
And you're just asking your clients to sleep a little less.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like so you fucking telling me that you can't work on your side gig outside of your working hours. I'm just not buying it. So it's not that you can't, you're just not willing to. So let's cut the fucking bullshit. Yeah. Everyone can. I mean, how many stories we heard is like my story of success is like, okay, that's inspiring stories. I came across so many stories far more inspiring than my own story because we had single fucking mothers of 3, you know, in the country that didn't speak the language of, you know, work in a fucking factory 60 hours a week, and then, you know, writing that best-selling book fucking during the night or something like that. You know, it's like, yes, we watch Hollywood movies and we you know, we exposed to this kind of stories in the movies, but there are stories like that in real life.
Exactly.
So how the fuck somebody's gonna tell me that, oh, I can't. It's like, listen, okay, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But don't tell me it's impossible because this word doesn't exist in my vocabulary. Don't tell me it's impossible, right? So it's always a question of not what's possible, what's not possible. It's a question because everything is possible within reason, right? Within the law of physics. The only question is, what extent are you willing to push yourself, or how far are you willing to push yourself to get what you want? And now I'm not saying go and, you know, sleep with people of the sex you're not attracted to. Like, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I was just trying to illustrate, you know, my like how much I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get what I want, right? Yes. And sure enough, I didn't have to sleep 4 hours a night. I didn't have to do Elton John, thank God. Like, give me another guy, but not like maybe somebody under the age of 100, right? Like, you know,
maybe snort.
For starters, you know, like God forbid he's gonna fucking start singing during the act itself, you know. So,
Michael, I have never snorted during an interview.
Yeah,
and you made me snort.
First time for everything, right? So you're welcome. So nothing as extreme as that because my goal didn't require it, right? But certainly I've done things that other coaches here in the UK were not willing to do. So you know, it's not an accident that I became the dominant personal coach in the country, and it's not to do with my confidence even that I always had. It's not to do with my superior knowledge of personal development, which I don't have. I have great set of knowledge, I believe, but there are coaches that have similar set of knowledge or level of knowledge, a better word probably. I've worked harder than all of them, right? And before that, so there's even more important distinction. To the best of my knowledge, I'm the only coach in the whole country who has made a decision to become the number one coach in the country, right? It starts with a fucking decision, right? It wasn't like, oh,
you didn't just stumble across it.
No, I knew it. I knew it's gonna happen long before it happened, and I went with it as far as starting telling other people that I'm gonna become the number one coach in the country.
This is so key. This is so key for anyone who's listening. Is stepping into what you want to become and behaving as if it is true and already happened. Not one day I will be
and then I will act.
Exactly. I want to give a quote. I want to let our listeners and our viewers on YouTube, I want to quote you here. I love this. And I think this is probably it's just one of the best expressions of an amazing coach as you are. And I just love this. This is from Michael's website, which is at michaelserwa.com. We'll put a link in the show notes. You say, I serve you without fear of hurting your feelings or ego. I help you achieve the best results as quickly as possible using my signature no bullshit approach. I will often be the only brutally honest person in your life, the only person who can make you see what you cannot see yourself. Sometimes your best thinking is wrong, and I'm going to tell you when I think so, no matter who you are. That right there, that should be a bumper sticker, although it's too long to be a bumper sticker, but it's a big, long bumper.
And now imagine, so not all of my clients are uber wealthy, powerful CEOs, but many of them are. Now imagine how few, if any, of people willing to be this brutally honest with them, those people have in their lives. Most of the time, zero.
No, everybody's saying, yes, sir. Yes, you're right. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, talking to them, so I have this rule in life that I talk to everyone the same way, right? Whether it's my Romanian cleaner from the fucking village, whatever, and she's, that's her job, and that's not a temporary job. That's what she's gonna probably do for the rest of her life, because that's how she rolls. She's been doing it like for a long time already. I promise you that I talk to her exactly the same way as I talk to my fucking royalty, fucking super powerful CEO client. So what happens is, when I talk to someone like my cleaner or a waiter in a restaurant or an Uber driver in a certain matter, so in a certain way, so respectfully, but also in an assertive way, they find it very refreshing because they used to being talked down to by people who are successful or more successful than them. But then equally, I talk in exactly the same way to those royals, and I had one like royal, so like I say royals, like I had one royal that I coached, and a whole bunch of wealthy people. I talk to them exactly the same way. They find it so incredibly refreshing because they are not used to people talking to them like that. They are used to getting the dick sucked by everyone because that's what happens when you're on the top of the food chain.
When you're famous,
everywhere you go.
Yeah, when you're famous, when you have money,
everywhere you go, everybody's like, oh my God, like, sure, whatever you say. Whereas for me, it's like, there was this one guy, he wanted me to go to his office for us to have his initial consultation with me. First, I didn't say it, like I got insulted that he thought even for a second that I would fucking go in his office. So it's like imagine you need a fucking brain surgeon, and you call in a brain surgeon or emailing a brain surgeon, and you find the top brain surgeon in town, and you expect this motherfucker to come to your place to do assessment. You wouldn't think about that. But what this guy didn't know is that I see myself as a fucking mind surgeon, and not just any mind surgeon, as a top mind surgeon in town. And I don't go to fucking anybody's houses for consultations. If you want to have a consultation with me, you come into my house, and it's gonna be on my terms, right? And if we choose to work together, not if you choose to work with me, if we choose to work together, it's gonna be on my terms. And you're gonna pay me how much I want you to pay me, and you're not gonna fucking negotiate with me. Like, you can try, but
yay, Michael!
but you can, like, good luck, like you're gonna need it, right? So it's like, but I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm so fucking awesome or whatever. It's like, what I'm saying is, those people in particular at the top of the food chain, because it's so new to them, right? Because it's so natural, and I understand it's so natural, like, oh my God, this person is so successful and so powerful and so influential. It's kind of natural in human behavior to kind of like, oh, let's make sure. And, it's the same, like I do the same thing in my dating life. I go for the hottest woman I can find, and I talk to them like I talk to everybody else. And they're not used to being talked to like that. because they're used to guys just bending fucking backwards to please them, right? Whereas with me, like I give you an example, I date someone and they cancel on the day of the date, and I say, okay, fine, okay, no big deal. I don't get upset. I don't get angry. Okay, yeah, okay, you want to reschedule? Okay. Just so you know, if you cancel again,
you owe me.
Never hear from me again.
Oh, I thought you were going to charge them. I'd charge them.
It's like, because you fucking pay me, bitch. No, but like,
charge them. Your time is valuable.
But I say, and because I'm all about efficiency, it's not even something I write every time. I have a fucking template for it. I just copy and paste it, right? Because it happened in the past. So I was like, okay, this shit's going to happen again. Let me save it as a template, right? So there's something like, if you cancel, just no problem. But just so you know, if you cancel me again, we are done, / there won't be another chance to meet or something like that, right? And now, again, back to what I was saying, when you are really successful financially or you're a celebrity, etc., and usually celebrities are financially successful as well, as we know, or a very attractive male or female, like physically attractive, I've never been that person, but I've met them, right? And I know the psychology, right? Like you are used to getting your way all the fucking time, right? And then this fucking Polish guy comes along and he's like, listen, nobody's fucking me. I'm doing the fucking. Oh. Yeah, I don't do the strap-on thing. No, that's not my, like, Christian, I leave it for you. Yeah, I don't do listen, I'm open-minded. I was just saying London, liberal place, but like, nobody's fucking me. I always do the fucking. I don't care who you are, right? And now this is as attractive to my target audience in terms of my clientele as it is to the women I date, because it's and I'm not doing it for the show. I'm not doing it because
but
I'm doing it because I'm being true to myself, because this is who I am.
Exactly. You're being true to yourself.
Everybody with respect, and I treat everybody in the same way. I try to. So I don't care if you are whatever or the most beautiful fucking Victoria's Secret model. If you cancel on me once, I will tell you that that's okay. But if you do it again, we're done, right? And sure enough, nobody cancels for the second time because it's like, oh, now I definitely want to meet this guy.
But see, you engage with people, and like you said earlier, it doesn't matter what strata you're in. If it doesn't matter if it's the cleaner or a waiter or anything like that, and that's something
on the human level is the same. Everybody's
my mom taught me that as well. Is that she used to say that treat everyone as if they are just absolutely precious, because the guy who's taking out your trash today in 10, 20 years from now might be the doctor who's operating on you doing open heart surgery.
Totally.
Right.
And even
because we judge people, we tend to judge people.
Of course, I do that too. There's a judgment. It's like, oh, Uber driver, but then I say, okay, so so there is this instinctive, instant judgment that I will have. I never said, I know that you didn't say that I said, but I never said that I'm not a judgmental person. I'm judgmental as fuck, right? And I judge people all the time in my fucking head. I judge myself in my head all the fucking time, right? But that's the internal dialogue. But then I'm in control of what's coming out of this mouth. So just because I think that this homeless person I'm passing by stinks, right? And I can't help it. I can, if I can smell the stink, I can smell the fucking stink. And there is a judgment, and I can see it showing up. I'm just using this as an example. It's like, but at the same time, I coach myself on it immediately. I'm like, no, like, he's a human being who happened to be in this condition at this very time.
And you don't know what he's gone through.
I don't know his story. I don't know his fucking story. I might end up like him 10 years from now. Who knows?
You don't know.
Right?
His story,
So there is a judge, there's a, I meet people.
But you're honest about it. You're honest about it. And you're so true. The only thing that we have control over is what we say, is what we speak into existence, right? And that's why it's so important, the power of words. And as you were saying earlier, if somebody says, yes, I would, of course I want to be successful, or I want to do something, but I can't because, but my parents, didn't give me this.
Divorced when I was 5.
I was
My mother
divorced
didn't
when I was
hug me enough, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. And I would share, a story of, like, I would think about a story like Oprah. I don't know if you know her backstory. She had terrible, imagine that just being black back when she was a young girl in the US, that was already like tough enough. And on top of that, she was in a very poor family. And I think she was sexually molested by a neighbor when she was 12. Like, I mean, I don't remember the details, but I remember that her childhood was horrific, right? Nobody's gonna fucking tell me that they can't do something if Oprah could do what she did.
Right.
Fucking media mogul, billionaire, while being black. I mean, it's 2022 now, so it's not as bad as it used to be, right? With racism and stuff in America, and being a female. So what's your fucking excuse? And sure, yeah, okay, and it's only stories that we tell ourselves. And yes, the words, as you said, are very powerful, and it starts with the words that form the stories that we tell ourselves. If you tell yourself a story that you can't do something, you won't be able to do that. So I encourage you to change that story, and at the very least, as a starting point, to open yourself up to the possibility that you can change your life at any fucking point. There's a quote: today is the first day of the rest of your life. Doesn't matter what happened yesterday, and it certainly doesn't matter what happened when you were 5. Yes, some people get molested at 5. I had a client who got sexually molested at 6. He was telling me the fucking story. I was almost crying. I'm not a fucking therapist. I'm not used to that. I said, motherfucker, can you stop making me cry? You're going to ruin my badass image, But like, it was just fucking so sad, right?
Aww.
But sure enough, he was doing well. And he was just like, and so many other people would experience what he experienced and be like, oh, now he was 45. Now I'm 45. And of course I'm on the streets because, this happened when I was 6. Bad things happen to all of us, but it's not about the things that happen to us. It's not the things that happen to us that determine our life and the quality of our life. It's what we do with the things that happen to us.
Exactly.
And we all have a choice, right? Just like I was saying, like, yes, like there is a judgment, there is this person versus the other person, but then I have a choice. And sure enough, right? So like my aim is to speak to everyone with a certain amount of respect. It doesn't mean that I never fail, but when I fail, I go, fuck, and I apologize, right? So sometimes it's like, I tell people off, people who's never experienced being told off like that, but equally, because I try to be fair with myself as well and other people, I would apologize to people who've never experienced somebody, especially like someone successful, like apologizing to them. Like I would apologize to my clients for like things that are like, Michael, it's okay that you thought I'm drinking Earl Grey as opposed to English breakfast and you made me the wrong tea. And I'm like, no, listen, in this house, those mistakes are unacceptable. Think about this environment. Like most people I coach are like local, so they come here for face-to-face coaching, right? And I run this fucking place. It doesn't look like it. It looks like a maybe 5-star hotel, but I run it like a luxury 5-star hotel. And when you go to fucking Four Seasons or Belmont or one of those hotels, when you order fucking English breakfast, you don't expect Earl Grey to arrive, right? When you fucking order sparkling water.
Just give the greatest analogy for a coach.
No, but you see, Christina, it's there's a saying like how you do anything is how you do everything.
Do everything,
right?
exactly.
And yes, I have to like obviously admit that the least my clients care about is the fucking tea, the quality of the tea. But like I'm at the point where my coaching is at the level, and I'm at the level where like it's like all I can do is to refine things, right? Because I've already done the groundwork. I've already completed my 10,000 hours of practice of my craft, right? So now it's like, okay, how can I make this room in which I coach downstairs? How can I make it even more how do I need to buy a new sofa? I mean, it looks fucking brand new, but how comfortable it is. And I would sit when my clients sit or prospective clients sit. What's the view from here? Oh, there's a little bit of paint. There's a stain. I'm OCD as well, so that doesn't help. It's a little, like, this shouldn't be let me get my handyman to come and fucking fix it, you know? So it's always like looking for ways to make sure that not just the coaching itself, which is obviously the most important thing, but the whole coaching experience is parallel to the Michelin star dining experience. Yeah,
And,
not just the coaching, everything.
And this is the thing. This is what makes you such a fucking amazing coach, is that you are never just resting on your laurels or resting on your success and going, okay, I've made it. Now I can relax. You are always looking for ways to up level, and everything from the service that you have to the bloody spot on the
smallest thing. Absolutely.
Right.
And, we were talking about the website before, and right now, I think that my website is perfect. I really do. I think it's fucking
pretty
perfect.
damn perfect.
Yeah, but where I'm going with this is 3 months from now, and I do it regularly, I'm gonna go through the whole fucking copy again for the 100th time, and I'm gonna pick up on a few things and go, how could I be so fucking stupid to miss that 3 months ago? Like, this is fucking bullshit, and I would change it. Could be moving comma from one place to another. Could be replacing one word with another. And then I would say, okay, it wasn't perfect before. I thought it was. Now it's perfect, right? So website, it's one example. Then, like, all of my social media platforms, and trying to make sure that everything looks as tidy as possible at all times. And then when people come to the house, it's like, not only people come here to discuss coaching, and it's expensive, and I take a lot of responsibility for it, especially given that it's expensive. To make sure that I deliver and provide the value for money, etc., etc. But also just, even if I wasn't working from here, if I'm a host, if I'm inviting you to my house, I want to make sure that I can, satisfy you, if you will. What would you like to drink? What do you have? Like, when I love when clients ask me, or prospective clients when they come for the first time, what would you like anything to drink? Do you have tea? So, yeah, sure. What kind of tea would you like? And they're like, what teas do you have? And I say, all of them. Because I fucking do. I don't drink tea myself, right? Like, I don't care about tea. I'm not English, I'm Polish, right? We established that. But there's no fucking way I'm gonna have somebody coming to my house for an initial consultation. The dates, sweetheart, you're gonna be fucking drinking whatever I give you, okay? But when so when people come for the initial consultation, and they ask for a tea, like, how the fuck I'm gonna say, oh, sorry, chamomile? I'm like, no, I only have, because again, that's not something you expect to hear when you go to. And I have to say, like, I've learned that from my experiences, certainly not with other coaches that I had, although so I take that back, because they were shit hot as well. So certainly not in some coaching books is what I meant, or business books. It's mainly based on my experiences of basically staying in the top hotels in the world, and going to the top restaurants in the world, and seeing, fucking hell, okay,
service.
Like, the set. I would just like, I'll be there like, I gotta fucking step up. Like,
It's service. If you're like me, you also recognize really a stellar service. And I always make it a point to tell people, I'll make it a point to, and it doesn't matter where I'm at. I could be getting a cup of coffee, and the 15 or 17-year-old barista behind and I'm watching him, and he's, he's doing 5 things at once, and people are throwing questions at him. The other people who work with him are throwing questions at him, and he's like, yeah. And as he's like frothing this, he's doing the espresso, and he's smiling, and he's like, right? Like, yeah. He goes, oh, no, not a problem. I got it. And then he'll see somebody go, hi, Karen, how are you doing? A customer. And I'll make it a point. First of all, I'll tip him $5-10, whatever. I'll make it a point, and I'll say, I just want you to know, I've been watching you. Oops, I'm like, that was a sign from God. I've been watching you, and your service is impeccable. And where's the manager? I want to tell them how great you are. And they're they're shocked and surprised, especially here in Australia, because they're not used to it. They're not.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like the US or Europe.
In Poland, they would call the police. If I said that in Poland, they would call the police. They were like, this guy, let's take him away. Yeah, let's.
Michael.
So, Christine, just in case you ever go to Eastern Europe, don't try that American shit. They will fucking take you away. Yeah. But no, I'm with you 100%. And just on that point, I often say that I have more respect for that 17, 18-year-old barista that you've mentioned, who's just so good at, who puts so much heart into what he does, right?
Yes.
It's a relatively simple job. Like, I wouldn't know how to do it unless you fucking train me, right? So it's not like it's so simple, right? There's a certain skill that goes into like anything, right? Including like what my cleaner does, for example, that was talking about earlier. I have more respect for this barista you were talking about than for some miserable as fuck 50-year-old lawyer with 5 fucking master degrees from different universities who's just like going through the motions and doesn't give a shit. And it's like, listen, I'm not gonna respect you just because you have fucking law degrees. Like, you have to earn my respect. One way to earn my respect is by doing your best. I'm not saying doing your best means you win all the cases for your clients. That's not
but doing your best.
Just like I'm not saying, I never said and I never will, because even if I was to have 100% success rate for the next 10 years, I know that I might have someone 10 years from now who I will coach, and they will not get what they want to get out of coaching, right? But I can tell you that there hasn't been a time where I didn't try my absolute fucking hardest to deliver the best result possible for whoever I worked with, right? And that's the first 10 years of me coaching. I'm only getting fucking started. Like, I know that my best work is still to come, right? But even when you try your best, sometimes it just doesn't happen, right? But again, back to what we were saying before, controlling the controllable, that's one thing you can control, right? So
that's the only thing that you can really control, is how you behave and how you react.
And how other people respond to it. Like, what happens afterwards is like, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It's not within your control anymore.
And being observant as well. That's the thing, being observant.
Paying attention, right? Paying attention. Yeah. It's like,
so many people, they walk through life, they're walking through life and they're not seeing all of that. And the intention, that's the thing with me too. I read into people's intention. If I feel that your intention is solid and good.
You can fucking spill I was in a restaurant once on a date, and it wasn't red wine, but it was a new restaurant, and this guy, so you see, I'm like this, like, if I'm in a restaurant, which is very rare these days because not trying to show off here, but like the places I go to are just too good for me to get a bad service in, right? But back in the day, right? Back in the day, I would go to a place. If I got an attitude from a waiter, I would verbally fucking destroy them. I wouldn't be shouting. I know it's very un-American, but I'm not fucking American, okay? This is my birthright as a Pole to give people a hard time, So I'm like that, and God forbid, I'm with a lady and somebody disrespects a lady, the girl I'm with. Oh my fucking God, I'm gonna unleash the fucking hell on them, right? But at the same time, I could be wearing, not that I fucking wear white suits, I could be wearing a white suit in a beautiful restaurant on a first date with someone I really like. And if the waiter, the same fucking waiter who had the attitude and whatever, if they were to accidentally spill a whole fucking carafe of red wine all over my suit, you wouldn't even see, like, I know that because there's a difference, because we're talking controllable versus non-controllable or uncontrollable, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between an attitude that we fucking choose, how we speak to people is something that we choose, and we can change that, or we can go, oh shit, sorry, I didn't mean like that. And I was like, yeah, don't worry. And the fucking accident, I'll be like, listen, they'll be like, oh my God, can we pay? It never happened, but like, I imagine, oh, we're gonna pay for your dry cleaning. We are so sorry. I'll be like, listen, don't worry about it. Like, I'll get a fucking new suit tomorrow. I'm Michael Serwa, right? Whatever, right? No, so but that's the difference, When you were talking about service and someone being good at what they do, and you can be the best at what you do, but you will still make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's okay. Like, let's don't fucking punish people that for making
No,
mistakes.
especially if they made a mistake. When you hear those people say, "Don't you know who I am?" Oh,
yeah. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Like, if I was with a client and my client has spoken to a waiter like that, like, they wouldn't, because I don't work with people like that. But if they would, I think I'd fucking drop them. I would like, dude, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm the same.
I would be like DiCaprio. Come on, man. Like,
You learn a lot about people. You learn a lot about people and how they treat others.
But especially like in a dating context, like when I work with, let's say, not let's say, like, I'll talk to my like straight female client about this. It's like, listen, he wants to fuck you. Of course, he's gonna be nice to you on a date, right? Pay attention to how he is with the waiter, with the waitress, with the and that will tell you more about who he really is, because obviously he wants something from you, i.e. sex, right? He doesn't want anything from the waiter. So the truer representation of his personality will be, and it's the same like for guy, like, if the woman is like, oh yeah, ha ha ha, she's laughing at my jokes, even if they're not funny, but then she's rude to the waiter, huge fucking turn off for me. Huge fucking turn off.
And that says so much. Watch them, how they interact with others,
especially with this quote unquote, how do you put it, like,
watch them how they interact with others who from all ranges.
Yeah,
right.
But especially the people who are like the youngest, on the minimum wage kind of workers, because it's like, oh, he's a surgeon, so obviously it's like most people will be like respectful towards a surgeon just because they're a surgeon, right? And for me, it's like, okay,
no, I respect you if you're a good person.
Better?
I'll respect you if you're a good person. I'll respect you if you have if you have a heart. Yeah. If you're not, I don't waste my time, because I don't want to be around that. Oh, Michael, okay, we could go on for ever and ever and ever and ever. I adore you. I'm so glad that our paths crossed.
I adore you too. Like, I didn't know what to expect, like really, but like I assumed we're gonna have a good time, because that's what I do. Like, I like to have a good time, and I told you that I heard your voice. I was like, yeah, this is gonna go well. Like,
it went great.
Yeah,
this is one of the most interesting interviews I've ever had, and I have never snorted in a show, and you brought that out of me. So you can add that to your on your website. You can actually add that to your accolades.
I will add it to my CV ASAP.
Michael Serwa, thank you so very much for joining me today.
Life achievements.
If people want to find out,
Christine, thank you for having me. I genuinely had a great time, and I can echo what you just said. I could talk to you for hours, and sure enough, we can do it anytime.
Let's do it again.
Done.
If people want to find out more about my extra special guest, Michael Serwa, you can go to michaelserwa.com. Check it out, and
go there if you dare. Go there. If you are a pussy, if you are a pussy, don't bother, because you're not gonna like it. But if you're not a pussy, then you might like it. So yeah.
I'll also put. Can I put your Facebook link on the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My OnlyFans page. Just kidding. I don't have one.
Well, I'm going to follow you. I'm going to stalk you now.
Please do.
Thanks again, Michael, so much for being on the show.
My pleasure.
And thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers on YouTube. If you want more information about this podcast, go to outoftheboxwithchristine.com. And if you want more information about me, you can go to christineblasdale.com. And make sure you check the show notes, click on those links, and find out more about my special guest, Michael. I love and adore you, Michael, and I'll see you soon, okay?
I love you too, Christine.
All right, love.
All the best.
Bye-bye.